Hey everyone, Matron here bringing you another Starcraft 2 commentary, this time Game 4 of the clan war between vVv Gaming and EG Evil Geniuses. We just saw vVv Murder take out one of EG's strongest players in Control. On Lost Temple he was able to harass the economy of In Control, and then he made the perfect unit counter to In Control's Colossi. Lots of Vikings, lots of Marauders, was able to apply pressure and eventually force the GG. So again, this is going to be a clan war. Both sides have 4 players and they need to knock out every single player on the opposing side. So hopefully by this time you've picked a team to start rooting for, as it's always more fun to have a rooting interest in these clan wars and these team games. So we'll get started with Game 4 now. We do have vVv Murder spawning as the purple Terran on the western part of this Metalopolis map, and then EG Axslav spawning as the teal Protoss on the eastern portion. So I kind of question the strategy of EG putting 2 Protoss players in a row here. They just saw that Murder took down In Control, so if Murder is kind of feeling good about the TVP matchup and might be in a bit of a groove after taking down another one of EG's Protoss, putting up Axslav as their second Protoss right afterwards, a little bit questionable. They do have LZ Gamer as well, so might have wanted to see LZ Gamer in this spot and throw some TVT at Murder and see whether he's good in that matchup as well. But we will see how it works out, as Axslav, another strong player. You see EG, whenever they do interviews, In Control, Idra, they always talk about him as a player who's going to be up and coming and start doing some crazy good things at these tournaments that they all attend. Looks like we are on cross positions on Metalopolis. So just like Lost Temple, we may see 2 bases go up for both players, may see a bit more of a macro game, and hopefully both players can try to get into some late tech, and we'll see what their macro looks like, what their spellcasting and their micro looks like as well. Looks like Axslav getting up the gas and the gateway, pretty standard timing. Murder has not yet gotten up a refinery, and this would be about the time he'd put down the second barracks if he was going for some early racks pressure, but it looks like he's going for the gas instead. So going pretty standard, both players. They have sent out scouts, and Murder will soon see that Axslav is on this far position, and we'll see what sort of decision he makes as far as his second unit producing building once he does see this. So it looks like we have a pretty standard opening for Axslav, throwing down that cybernetic score, just working off the 1 gas for now. Murder is going to be seeing everything that's going on at the moment. No Zealot coming out for Axslav. He may be waiting. Oh, now a Zealot is coming out. So he does not like the fact that Murder has this SCV in his base. Sometimes Protoss players waiting for that cybernetic score to come up, get out that Stalker first rather than that Zealot. And it looks like Axslav is going to be trapped in the base of Murder, and his probe is going to be taken down. So Murder did show that tech lab, and we do see a lot of concussive shell early on in this matchup. Those Marauders so powerful against the Zealots and the Stalkers alike once they do get the concussive shell. We see a Sentry coming out for Axslav now as well. So that Sentry, Protoss players want to get them early on, start banking up that energy. And if your Terran opponent has any sort of early pressure, you're able to wall off that ramp, throw down a force field, buy yourself a little more time, perhaps get up another unit or 2. Murder's going to have to get out of there with that SCV down to 8 hit points. Good pylon placement by Axslav. He's going to be able to warp in units on the low ground here, closer to his opponent, and he's also going to have sight for any sort of units which are going to be coming up. Looks like Murder moving in with a Reaper. And again, the Reaper sort of taking the place of that SCV scout in the mid game and even the late game as well. It's a lot more mobile, it's a little bit faster, it can hop up the ledges there. So instead of losing an SCV and 50 minerals, which a lot of players will do to scout, they're instead going to use these Reapers, and they only cost a little bit more than the SCV, but again, they're a lot more mobile, they can do some damage as well. And Murder's going to want to see the second gas timing and any more production structures. Going to do a little bit of a suicide in here, see the 3 gates, and possibly know that his opponent's going to be going for a 3-gate expand on this the cross positions here. Murder's already completed his own command center. So very few units out for Murder, but he is preparing to expand here. He is getting up another 2 barracks, so he will have 3 barracks shortly, and a reactor on one, a tech lab on another. If we check out the army tab, both players running at the bare minimum at the moment. We see Axslav throwing some more sentries into the mix, and again, getting those out early, they will be able to bank energy. Already we see the 1 sentry able to throw down 2 force fields. So this force field is so very powerful in pretty much every matchup in the early going, able to trap those Marines and Marauders, as well as in the Zerg matchup, deny Zerglings and Roaches the chance to attack as well. So sentry's very powerful. See Murder possibly expecting a little bit of pressure here in the early going, throwing up that bunker. And we do see that Axslav is moving out. He's positioned a proxy pylon right outside the base of Murder, so he could be pushing in here for some sort of attack. We do not see the orbital command landed yet. Axslav does have his probe there doing a little bit of a dance, possibly just to see the timing of that expansion. But Axslav does have his expansion up and running at this point. Sending that probe wants to get a gauge on the number and types of units which Murder has. He sees mostly barracks units, does not see any factory or starport units yet. And whatever he saw there makes him actually pull back with this army. He does have the superior army at this point. He has the forward proxy pylon. But thinking better of it, he may think that there aren't too many units at the front door there, and maybe there's a drop coming his way. We see a scan, and that's going to make Axslav even more paranoid, as typically Terran players are going to be scanning just prior to an attack. So Axslav going to be sitting here at home on the defensive, just working on his economy at the moment. 34 harvesters to 32. And quite the advantage in minerals, as we do see a transfer coming for Murder. But Murder does have the orbital commands up. He will be able to drop those mules, as we see another scout from Axslav taken down. Looks like Murder's a little bit supply capped here, sending up a Marine to scout, and he will be seeing this pylon. Axslav doing his best to get his units back into position, but I believe this pylon is going to go down if Murder is able to get to it quickly. A few Stalkers being warped in here, and they're going to try to retreat back to their reinforcing units. A stim from Murder going to be trying to come in here, but some great force fields. 4 force fields going down. About a third of the units of Murder were taken out there, and now we see some late warped in Zealots also going to try to do some damage against these units. Murder really wants to take down that pylon, and he's able to, but he's got a lot of units and a load of trouble on his front doorstep. If we check out the army tab, it is 1,700 to 700. Not sure what Murder's going to do. He's going to have to pull off SCVs to tank a little bit of this damage. Some great force fields on the bottom of that ramp as well, going to deny these Marines and Marauders the chance to attack. And it looks like these sentries and Stalkers are going to clean up the majority of the army of Murder. If we look at the army tab, 1,700 compared to the 150. Murder going to try to save this orbital command, pick it up. We have another force field placed down on that ramp, going to prevent any sort of Marines and Marauders from coming down, and some bunkers going up in the main of Murder. He does have out a Hellion or 2. Those are going to be very good against the Zealots, but he's going to have to try to defend this push. Axslav has a far superior army at this point, but Murder does have this wall off, and he does have a bunker here, as well as a little bit higher tech, so he may be able to defend this push. Axslav does not have that forward pylon, cannot reinforce with more units, and it looks like he is going to be pulling back here. So quite a damaging blow in the early going to Murder. He was able to save that orbital command, but knocked out the majority of his army. Quite a few